back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast. Apologies for no content for the weekend, but I was out, couldn't plan anything. So, one sense, it was a good thing because I didn't have to watch it live anyway. I've just had to watch it back, so I know what I'm talking about basically. But yeah, another defeat, yay! No goals, yay! Process, yay! Players revolting, yay! 24 hours to go, woohoo! Oh God! I mean, again, 3 games in, we haven't had a positive sort of podcast, and this is the 3rd one now. I'm actually sick of it now already. This is why I was not excited for the season. This is why, since November last year, halfway through November, early December, I've been saying Arteta isn't the man for the job. I tried to back him when he first came in, even though I had my reservations. I tried and I tried and I tried. It just hasn't worked. And yet again, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Literally, we ain't scored a goal in 3 games. We've conceded none. We're bottom. We are rock bottom of the Premier. Norwich have scored more goals than us, and are above us now. But before I go into full rant mode, I'm going to introduce my guest. Sorry about that, but yeah, needed to get off my chest because even though I didn't watch the game live because I was out and about having an actual live, and thankfully, I know some of you guys did have to watch it, but yeah, I've watched it back a couple of times on highlight on Match of the Day and all that, and it doesn't get any better. But as you can see, guys, I'm joined by Andrew, Melvin, and Steve. How are you doing, guys? Have you 48 hours later? Have we recovered?
Kind of. It was not a shock. It was still horrible to watch. It was like I'd done something wrong in my life, and I had to watch 83 minutes of that. I missed the first 7 minutes, thank God. That's another story. But it's like I've done something, and now God is punishing me. I don't know what I've done, but if I have done something, if I need to repent, tell me what I've got to do, and I will do it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot for you to repent for, Melvin, to be fair.
Yeah, you in that dungeon. It's all your fault.
I'm a Pompey fan now, by the way. I'm following Miguel Aziz. I no longer follow a team. I follow a player, and Miguel Aziz is my player. So up the Pompey play up, or whatever they say.
Well, on that basis, do you support... who do you support? Let me see. Arsenal or where's Anthony McNeil's going to go to? Where's he going? Everton.
Everton.
You don't support that too, because no one knows if he's going or not. So you've got to wait to decide if you're going to support there.
We've turned down Everton. We've turned them down, so he's staying. No.
That's we've turned give him more money.
We've turned down Palace, 10 million from Palace. For Nketiah, and we're going to just let him go and sign for someone for free in January, in 4 months' time. So we're a really smart club, we are.
Oh, absolutely brain fart moments we're having at the moment. But hey, Edu, Vinard, all doing a fantastic job, guys. You can't criticise them. I mean, seriously. Liverpool's at since whatever people say about the Liverpool owners, they'll slip up here and there, but they hire the right people. They've got 30 mil for a player never played a Premier League fucking game, and 35 mil for someone that did play a game. We're disputing 10 million for Eddie Nketiah. Oh no, we want more than that. He's got a year left in his contract. We want more. No, have they not learned from Granit Xhaka in the summer? Arsenal valued him at whatever price, 30 odd mil, whatever. Roma valued him with length of his contract left, and these performances at a certain level. Or what was it, 17 million or something like that?
No, 12 I thought they bid.
Was it 12? Something like that. Along those lines, either way.
Yeah, making it up to 15 with add-ons.
Yeah. And literally, we go, no, we're sticking to our guns. And we fucking reward the prick. The guy who's fucking twerking for Roma and Mourinho, literally publicly on his Instagram going, oh, the club knows I love Roma. I can't wait to be there, basically. Chat to Mourinho back and forth publicly. And you've awarded the prick with a new contract, with new wages as well. And you didn't have the fucking gumption. The club didn't have the gumption to actually announce it themselves on their own Twitter, social media platforms. He had to do it himself. And in the first game after that, he does what he's done at the weekend.
Right.
Fantastic business. I'm sorry to be negative, but I'm sick of it. I'm actually sick of it. Everyone criticises Vieira, by the way. He's actually 3 games in, higher in the league than Arteta, but apparently Vieira's nowhere near what Vieira's worse than Arteta. Apparently, I'm sorry. Yes, he's inherited an aging squad and all that, but you know what? He's working for what he's got. He's getting results. He's gone at West Ham, who are high flying at the moment in the last year, and got a result. They show fight non-stop. I've not seen fight from this team at all, especially this weekend. I mean, Steve, I'll get on to you as well. What about you? What about yourself? How have you felt? Because obviously you didn't watch the game either live, and
luckily
you
I was
watched
at a
it
wedding
back
on Saturday, but I've got 5 minutes to go on Flash Scores, and that's the result. It's 3-0 and a red card. So I thought, well, this ain't gone well, is it? First 25 minutes or whatever it was, and obviously saw the team sheet where somehow Kolasinac seems to be, back in the side, playing at centre back, and it just looked a mess. Just no idea really. Cedric got the place at right back this time, didn't he? So on a rotation basis, obviously now. So playing the best team, arguably in the country, and you're messing about with your back four again.
Yeah.
And again, we don't score, so it's just didn't really need to watch the game to know where we were going wrong or just not have a clue really. And I haven't got. I mean, looking at Twitter today about players that are going, then they're not going. There's no sign of anybody else coming in at the moment. You've got Maitland-Niles going on Instagram saying he wants to play. All he wants to do is play. It's just a mess. It really is a mess. And I can't suss it out really. It's beyond me, my level of intelligence. I just can't.
Yeah.
I just can't work it out. What's the plan? What is the plan? I don't know.
No, well, it's bizarre. And then we're hearing today there's been meetings with between Edu, Arteta and certain players, and then Aubameyang's holding secret meetings, like crisis meetings with the players behind Arteta's back and all that today. It's all kicking off. It's the stuff we don't need, and yet we were told as well that last week we're informed. I know it's a bit hit and miss of if it's true or not, but we're being told by certain parts of the media, or he's been told by Josh 5 games or that's it. It's like 5 league games. The first game after that morning, we lose 5-0. How is he in a job? And people go, well, down to 10 minutes, Man City. I mean, Chelsea. I'm sorry, I don't buy it because Chelsea then later on that day go to Anfield. With a better squad and all that, with a better manager, bit of a clue there. They went down to 10 men. They showed fight. They did not give up. They gave Liverpool problems from even at 10 men. We just went, okay, no worries. Go on, have the points.
Right.
I'm so sick of it.
It's almost like they'd given up before they even started, didn't it? It was almost like they weren't going to get anything out of the game. So we'll just play out the game. Whatever happens, and we're not going to really, our next game is Norwich. That's a proper game. Lose against Chelsea, lose against City, and then we start again. But I don't know. You think players want to play, wouldn't you, and really not be embarrassed, but you got Xhaka posting pictures of him flying off on World Cup shoot or whatever his smiley face.
Qualifiers, yeah. All happy.
It's not sending out the right message, is it?
Yeah, I know.
The clue was
it's all behind, Sorry?
I've never known a situation.
It just sends out all the wrong messages, doesn't it?
Of course it does, Stephen. I've never known I've watched Arsenal a lot in a long time. I know it in time of the media has changed now with Instagram and Twitter and all that. But even in the papers, I've never seen Arsenal players who are still Arsenal players show Arsenal such disrespect. They would be out the door before they can get their boots off. And when the clue you said, Ryan, you said the Chelsea, they played with 10 men. That's the word we used was men. We had 10 players. There's a difference. That was the big difference. I've watched Chelsea twice now this season. Once against us last Sunday, once against Liverpool. I watched Man City against us. And to say that we are leagues apart is not big enough. I mean, I've seen Arsenal play in the FA Cup teams from the old 2nd and 3rd division, and they gave us always gave us much more of a fight than we did against Man City. The gap is so wide. Talk about mind the gap. It's mind the earthquake.
It's virtually like we're playing a different sport.
Yes, exactly right.
Football.
Absolutely.
We've made something up that we think is football, but really We're just making up the numbers, aren't we? It's almost like a boxer's training for a big fight, and we're brought in as the punch bag, aren't we? You know, we're sort of brought in as a, you know, we'll beat them, get the confidence up, and then we'll go on to the proper games. You know,
I put out there yesterday on Twitter. I put, watching this is like watching Ryland take on Mike Tyson in a boxing match. That's the difference to the two teams. It was that fast. I mean, the word embarrassing, you throw out embarrassing. You know, we're embarrassing, got beat 2-0 against someone. But yesterday was so embarrassing. I think it's come to a point where people aren't going to, like, I suppose we spoke before, like, people ain't going to take the mickey out of us anymore because we're not worthy of it. We are so poor. We are not worthy.
Yeah, we're not. I was literally I was bumped into a Tottenham fan, a couple of Chelsea fans who were chatting, and this is like hours after the event, after we got back to the Chelsea were playing the second half, and I'm saying it could be worse, guys. You could be bottom of the league and no points, no this, no that. And this is when, what's going on? How long has he got left? I mean, when did we got Tottenham and this, that, and the other? No, there was no pity. There was no. Oh, we're gonna like literally have that banter with you, like ha 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 ha. Look where you are now, sort of thing. There's nothing. And it's not just, you see it on social media now. It's the pity we have. It's just like,
I think there's
we're not worth the banter now. Basically, we're beyond banter now.
Watching Wolves play yesterday, and people were saying we should sign the Dharma because he looks like a world class player.
Oh God,
he does.
No way.
But of course, he fit right in.
His finishing is awful, though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His finishing is awful.
Right into the way we play, looks great, but when it comes, at the business end, there ain't nothing there.
No, he's dreadful when he gets anywhere near the box. He just either falls over, hits the first man, or it goes into row X. Just no chance for me with him.
He looks great up to the 6-yard box, doesn't he? He looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
But what can you do? I'm just holding out that we've got players coming back from injury and COVID and whatnot, and maybe we'll see an upturn. I mean, Pepe was missing. Was that because of COVID, or was he just ill, or was it anything coming?
Just ill.
It would have made a difference yesterday.
No, probably not. But,
instead of I don't know. Say instead of having Cedric on as a right wing back, we'll have say. Put a pin in the map and see who comes up. But they'll just be standing still instead. Instead of Granit Xhaka, we'll hopefully have Thomas Partey back, and he'll just stand static in midfield instead of Granit Xhaka. Maybe he wouldn't get sent off. That's good. That's a positive. But I mean, that video that's doing the rounds of when Edison had the ball. And he's just like literally thinking, what the hell's going on here? He's just standing there with the ball at his feet and no one was going up to him. Have you seen that video? The Arsenal's pressing? Yeah. Oh my God. It's just makes you want to it makes you both angry, sad, every emotion. It's just like you're looking at it and thinking, what the hell is going on here? And I put a tweet out saying, right, there's two options here. They're either doing as they're told or they just can't be bothered and they're not listening to the manager anymore. Either way, we're fucked. Absolutely dreadful.
Sorry, it does look like he's completely lost the ball, the dressing room. He's completely lost it. Looks of it.
I mean, you give the players the benefit out. These are professional footballers that do this job for a living. They get paid shed loads of money, and they've come from other clubs, but it seems to be they just don't know what they're doing. It's almost like they've forgotten how to play the game. Basic marking, basic positions, do the simple things well. We just can't seem to do any of that at the moment.
Did you think, watching Saturday's game, if you'd have said to me that team there haven't got a manager at the moment and no one's actually taking charge of the team, and I've gone, I can understand the way they played. It didn't seem like we had a manager on Saturday.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
And he's not getting animated in the way he used to. And it's like what happened with Emery towards the end. He just gave up. And it's very similar to, you can see that starting to happen more and more with Arteta.
Yeah.
He's just resigned himself to, sorry.
No, go on, carry on.
I say he's resigned himself to them not doing what he wants them to do. It's just embarrassing. Sorry, Steve, you carry on.
Yes, is it a question of he's just given up there because whatever he does, he can't get his message across, and the players just aren't responding to it. And it, as you say, it doesn't really matter what team you put out, does it really? Because they all seem to have got the same attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
There
You
are
can't
some.
replace all the players, can you? So you can't replace all the players, so there's only one person you can replace, isn't there, at this stage?
Yeah.
I know.
mean, there's a thing that you might say have the players down their tools. The shame of it is some of the players haven't got any tools to down. They're that bad. It really is. They're where we are at the moment. This is like a parallel universe I'm living in. I know people say I've seen worse teams. Well, I might have done, but this is worse. And it's not just because it's a knee-jerk reaction. This has been in my mind for a long, long time, as some of you know. But it's like, this is not real. How can this be happening? How was everything that I was brought up when I was supporting Arsenal thought that we were good at and we had defined just gone the opposite way? I've never known a team, someone out there can probably help me out, that their transfer ins and outs can be so bad, so transparent, and so badly economical. And the choices they made, there's no other team out there. Macca's, all right, any other Premiership team, definitely not. Championship team, definitely not. Why is it that we make the worst decisions ever on most certainly the last 5 years? The worst. We have thrown so much money away. It makes me wonder why this owner is still there. He must have lost. If he actually looks and say, we've lost X, but we could have only lost Y, he must be pulling his hair out. Surely he cannot just say, oh, it's all right, doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It matters to the club, and it should matter to him, money-wise.
I said before, Kroenke is obviously a very, very successful businessman. And he's probably looking at it thinking, well, why should I give you loads of money? Because you only waste it.
Exactly. But he does, though.
Yeah.
But he's given 140 million to a manager that hasn't proved himself yet on the way down. So that doesn't make sense. 140 million.
That's just this summer, not counting everything, all the rest.
Yeah.
Well,
just this summer. Net is probably 150 and we wouldn't.
Was it 400 million? Is it something? I don't know.
It'll be around that. It's got to be around that now. The amount of money spent.
And you think, who he actually bought that have actually, you just said, Man City were in for them, or Man United were in for them, or Chelsea were in for them, but I can't think of anybody. Really.
Thomas Partey, potentially.
Possibly.
But that's about it, really. And Ben White, to be fair, was wanted by quite a few clubs, but we're the ones that paid the 50 million. But whilst I was off, because my computer died, I don't know what happened. I've had to switch my laptop. But I don't know whether anyone's already mentioned whilst I was away. Kolasinac. And I've got to have my say on this. I mean, you have to excuse me as well because I've got a terrible cold, so I might have to hope we don't have to blow my nose too often. But with Kolasinac, obviously played against West Brom, but he hadn't made a Premier League start in 8 months. We gave him away last January because we just literally didn't want him. We've been desperately touting him about and he's been trying to go behind the scenes over the last week or so to try and cancel his contract so he can go and join his mate Ozil over at Fenerbahce. And then he starts him away at Man City.
Yep.
Ahead of Pablo Mari, who he bought specifically to be a left-footed centre-back.
In a free.
Who had in a back three who... Yes, he had a bad start to the season, but anyone is going to get battered around by Lukaku like he did last game. Sorry, he's not going to meet anyone like that in this game. And you're telling me he's going to play Kolasinac ahead of him? I mean, forget all the transfers in and outs. Forget all the hierarchy at the club. That is an absolutely unbelievably poor decision. What other manager would have made a decision like that in such a high-profile game to play someone who is actively desperate to leave the club? And what does that say to Pablo Mari, who's sitting there on the bench? What kind of if you're going to try and you've signed this guy, you're stuck with him. You've got to keep his his momentum up, his confidence up. But what's that going to say to Pablo Mari, who's sitting there watching Kolasinac play like a League Two hoofer?
You
You know,
Andrew, I agree with what you say. I agree with you say, Andrew, but Pablo Mara has been playing like a championship player. I don't want Kolasinac anywhere near
better than
the club.
Kolasinac. It's better than Kolasinac, mate.
He is better. Yeah, no, true.
He's a natural centre back,
Let's
whether you like him or not.
Mari's been poor this year.
Listen, I'm not bigging him up. I'm saying
he's better than him.
Decision making. It's the decision making, Melvin. Whether you like Mari or not, it's ridiculous. He's a left back or a left wing back, Kolasinac, but he's a shit one of those.
Yeah, true.
So why are you going to shift him into a centre back? Why the hell are you going to do that under any circumstances? There's no excuse possible to say that he is the right person to start in that game. And he's openly wanting to leave the club within the last week, trying to cancel his contract. Why would you play him? Why would you start him in a Premier League game away to Man City?
You could say that about Xhaka, but at least Xhaka's consistent. He, gets sent off in games he doesn't fancy.
Consistency something, but I can't say because I get in trouble.
I mean, talk about decision. Are you telling me that Saliba couldn't have got into that side?
Exactly.
Don't even get me started down that rabbit hole.
Methapants as well.
Don't get me started down that man hole.
You know what, Steve? And so people are turning around to you. Steve, people are turning around and go, yeah, it's a farmers league. But remember one thing. If Chambers and Holding played in that league, they wouldn't star, mate, would they? Amari, they wouldn't star. Where did players in that league.
Thierry Henry come from? The Farmers League. Yeah, where does Cantona come from? All these great French players. Where do they start in the French league?
Exactly.
And every player has to start somewhere by a manager giving them a chance.
Yeah.
Like Pedri starting for Barcelona at such a young age. When did he start? 16, I think he got his first start. Yeah. And we're loaning out one of our real top class midfielders. We're desperate for midfielders, and I agree actually that it's right to get rid of Aziz this season. When Arteta's there, because he could end up being ruined if he stayed anyway. But under a decent manager, why wouldn't you have Aziz ahead of El Neni every single day of the week to give him his minutes? Coming on for the last half hour here and there, instead of wasting it on someone another player that's going to leave on a free at the end of this season in El Neni, who's pretty talentless, tries his hardest, bless him, but he's nowhere near good enough. Why wouldn't you give those minutes to Aziz?
I reckon it must
because
be like
you look at that young kid who's playing at Liverpool's midfield, Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott, yeah.
Crossing the midfield against Chelsea, he's been trusted over the last couple of seasons to actually start giving him minutes here and there. Aziz is 20 next month. 19. I beg your pardon, 19 next month. He's ahead of him in age. Why don't you start giving him some minutes instead of wasting them on any?
Look at what he's done as well.
Arteta's coffee in the morning, doesn't he? Obviously, he's good. There's players that don't fit Arteta's profile, and we mentioned about it the other week, didn't we? About he makes an instant decision about a player, and then that's it. They're done, aren't they? He moves them on, or he just doesn't play them, doesn't pick them.
Well, look at McGill.
Old-fashioned, but I want him to
Stone is good start, I suppose.
You know what? Call me old-fashioned, but I prefer a manager to pick players on their performance, not if he likes the suits they wear or the way they chew gum.
And this all goes back to the non-negotiables. This is all part of the non-negotiable bollocks. And when he had literally 20-odd months down the line, and he's backtracking to suit his own agenda, to suit players he likes, as you say. I mean, how many times including Freddie, Jacques has now worked under 4 managers at Arsenal. He's at every single one of them down at one point or another. Yet he's still at this club. We've just rewarded. I said at the start of the podcast, we've just rewarded him with a new contract, a pay rise. What's he going to do? There's a mentality here. And me and my brother, I was talking over there. Me and my brother had a chat last night. The first time we got to chat about the weekend's game and all that. And you made a good point. The main problem is there's the bad parts of the end of Wenger's time are still integrated into this team, into this club. And that's what. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Mikel Arteta play for that back end of the era where things were starting to fall apart?
Yeah.
That back end of his career. He's not even an Arsenal legend. With all due respect, he's not even an Arsenal legend player-wise. He's an Everton legend. Most of his career was at Everton. That's where he made his name. Yet where he being a training school FC. Why did we go for Mikel Arteta? No, with all due respect, he had no experience. Maybe he took the big good game and this, that, and the other. But you go because it's so raw after Wenger as well. It wasn't that long afterwards. A couple of years so afterwards. You're trying to move away from that. Hire someone that's got no connection to that. If you want to go for the next player, no connection to Wenger from that era, from that bad era. If you want to go for whatever, or let's go for someone that's completely Wenger. No, hasn't been anywhere near him in a coaching role, whatever. Just do that. But oh no, we can't do that. Apparently, he's absolutely.
I think if you want,
flabbergasted. I'm absolutely flabbergasted.
If you want the best managers, you've got to go and pay for them, haven't you? And you've got to back them. And we weren't prepared to do that. So the next option was someone like Arteta, wasn't it? That we spoke about.
Either pay through the nose, Steve, or show a bit of imagination. Go looking, widen the net. Look at the other European countries, the Dutch league, for example, the German league, where they've got some fabulous young managers coming through. Just give a little bit of imagination out there. You know, it's like when the best centre forward in the world comes on the market, and someone buys him, and someone goes, "What a great signing that is!" No, you've just got the money, and it's quite obvious he's a great centre forward. The same with the manager. Let's just, we can't afford the best managers now, and the best managers won't go near us if they got any sense. So I think we've just got to show, just as I say, widen the net, show a bit of imagination, do your research properly. Don't just say they look nice in a suit, like it seems. They talk a good game. Look at their record, have a bit of a study, and pick the guy that's his own man, will do what he wants, and he's got a decent back team. I mean, the team that Arteta's got, he's got like 95 people behind him. I mean, what do they do? Seriously, what do they, apart from taking up seats at the Emirates to make it look more crowded, what do these people behind him do? These trainers and coaches, all these specialists here and specialists for that. Oh my God, it's frightening. It's just so badly run. And you're saying he's a good businessman. And he is, obviously. He's a very good businessman, the guy who owns our club. But he's not a good football man. I mean, look at the guy that took over Palace, I can't remember his name now,
Golden Sullivan, West Ham.
No, I'm talking about, they're good. I'm talking about the one at Crystal Palace.
Simon Jordan. Simon Jordan
used to be. Before him.
Simon Jordan then is now Steve Parish.
The one before that, but what he did, he had I think a computer company, made an absolute fortune in computers, multi-millionaire, brought on Terry Venables as his manager, gave him the most unbelievable contract, and within the 12 months, the guy had gone bust because he ran out of money. He didn't realise what he was taking on, and he wasn't a good. When he was making these appointments, I'm not saying Terry Venables was amazing, but the contract he gave him was mind-blowing to where Crystal Palace were at that time. And it's just about, our guy has got so much money that if this does go tits up, it doesn't really matter because he has got so much money as well. He's got so much money. He move on to the next franchise. But this guy had only this one business. And that's what I'm saying. He doesn't seem, people saying he's tight with money. I don't think he is. I just think he just know, in football terms, he doesn't know how to spend it. He's got people under him, but to me, could you get any worse? If you gave all these deals to all of us to do this or that, would you have taken 20 million for Bellerin or 20 million for this geezer last year? You'd have probably said, yeah, I'll take that. What, they want to give 20? We turned down so many good bids for our players last year, and lots of us went, are you serious? We could have, and now we're giving them away for nothing.
Yeah,
we're giving them away for nothing, and it's not like after the horse has bolted. Just as we spoke about this last pre-season, about we've got a chance of raising some money. We're crying we've got no money. We're crying that we need new players, and we're not selling the crap that we got for decent money. And some of it wasn't crap. All right, some of them were half decent, but not good enough to take us forward. So why don't we sell the players that are poor, plus the ones that are not good enough to take us forward on top of that, to get in some players that have got a chance to take us forward? And we didn't do that. So I know that Arteta, it's not really his team you're saying, because, bro, he hasn't got, this one and that one, his hands were tied. No, he had a choice. He had a choice on goalkeepers last year. He had a choice of finding a right back last year and getting rid of the right backs we got, all of them. He had a chance of getting rid of the centre halves that are just not good enough. Still, they're not going to get any better, these centre halves we've got. The Chambers and Holding are not going to get any better, right? They'll have good games now. Of course they will. They'll have good games, but they're not going to get any better over a period of time. They ain't going to. That's it. No other team would take them in the Premiership. Definitely not in the top 10. Perhaps in the bottom 10. The only bottom 10 team that would take these is us, because that's where we are. And we've had that. He had that chance. He blew it. That's a part of They made him into a manager from a coach. If he was the coach and these things happened, I could say, well, it's not his decision. He became our manager. He took on the extra responsibility. And with that extra responsibility, he had decisions to make. And every decision he's made on players, in my opinion, was poor.
I was quite encouraged last Christmas when we actually got, cancelled the contract and just paid off a load of this dross. And I thought, it's not good business, but at least we're making the right steps of sweeping out all this crap from the club. And then we go and turn it all around again, and we have an opportunity like 10 million, 12 million on the table for someone like Granit Xhaka, and 10 million for Eddie Nketiah, and got however much for Bellerin. You should just take whatever you can, because you've got to pull the plaster off sometimes. Just get it done and just get the clean up completely finished. So it's all done. All the players that are still here because apparently I saw on Twitter, I don't know how true this is, perhaps someone can actually say whether this is true, but 8 of the players that started against Man City were from the Wenger that played were from the Wenger era. And as James Johnson said last week on the show that I did with him, he said Arteta, including renewals and players that he's brought in, they total 23 players now, and that is a squad. That is a full squad. So you can't say that he's not had. It's a Wenger problem here and all this stuff. He's brought or renewed 23 players, and yes, we've got a few players out, but 8 starters were from the Wenger era. It should all just be gone by now. So that all that negativity from previous, because you need to just get rid of it all from players that have been hanging around from that period of time, and to actually properly start over again. And when you get the opportunity of doing so, instead of cancelling people's contracts and paying them off, which is fair enough in some cases, but when you get the offer of 12 million for someone like Granit Xhaka, you take it. You absolutely have to take it if it's the highest offer that you're going to get. Because like Melvin said, these players are not going to get any better, and you're always going to get the same results if you keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it's just beyond belief that what's going on with Ainsley Maitland-Niles today. I mean, that's another laughingstock matter that's coming out. Ainsley, totally unprofessional, obviously putting it out on social media that he wants to go somewhere because I'm not wanted. Woe is me. And then you got David Ornstein coming out saying that all season he's been willing to play right back, and that's the only position he's happy to play right back. All this blah blah blah. I mean, that's as far as David Ornstein is going to go to actually having a go at the club, in my opinion. What he actually said there, because even he probably can't believe what's going on in front of his eyes at the moment. Because our club, I'm telling you now, is sinking well below the surface, right in front of our eyes, and you've got to recognise the fact that our club is going to be unrecognisable unless something drastic happens in the next year or two regarding ownership and richly from top to bottom, because our club is just going to go one way and that's down. We've been saying that for a long time, and then all of a sudden a couple of things happen to make you think, oh right, actually maybe this is the right sort of direction we're starting to take. Maybe we are learning lessons, and then after that one step forward we take about 5 back again, and you think no, you've got to go with your gut instinct and realise this club is sinking beyond belief. And it's just one embarrassment after another, and all this AMN stuff today. I just can't. I don't know how much more of it all I can take, to be honest with you. Honestly, it's just one thing after another that's making us a laughing stock, and I bloody hate my club, my proud club, being an absolute laughing stock of world football at the moment. Because we are, and rightly so. Rightly so. You can't defend anything. You literally got to the stage where you even can't argue anymore, and you can't be bothered to argue with anyone because whatever they're saying is generally true. It's honest. I could just go on for ages on it, but it's just
a mess.
shambles,
Isn't it? It's just an
absolute shambolic.
mess. We're now in a situation whereby the window finishes tomorrow. We've got to either move 5 players out and potentially are we going to bring anybody in, or we go with what we've got because we've got Bellerin, Chambers, Cedric, Maitland-Niles. Arteta's obviously decided that none of them are actually any good to play right back. So if you're not going to bring one in, you end up going to keep all 4 of them and mix and match game by game.
Just for the sake of it, yeah.
Midfield, Xhaka and El Neni. We kept saying, didn't we? I said, look, we'll end up playing at Xhaka and El Neni first 2 or 3 games of the season, and we all thought, nah, that can't happen. But here we are, and El Neni's not going to go anywhere, is he? And Xhaka's not going anywhere, and what's happened to Lokonga? He has a couple of good games and suddenly he's not playing.
Lokonga was our best player, most encouraging player the first 2 games of the season.
He's not playing.
And then you drop him.
Yeah.
You drop him for no one, technically.
He would have done a better job than,
We called this last week. We called
for
that.
the 90 minutes, wouldn't he?
Mm.
He would have
I think
stayed
it's
for the 90 minutes, that's for sure.
With Lokonga, he's got a cunning plan, our manager. Don't worry, it's a cunning
Oh,
plan.
God.
A plan so cunning you could stick a tail on it and call it a weasel.
So,
What's this?
Honestly,
is the Norwich game now a must win?
No, it is.
Norwich now a must
Just one
win,
second,
isn't
though.
it?
Just quickly going back to Nketiah, if we don't accept that £10 million, which it looks like we haven't done, that is completely mismanaged. Not only doing the wrong thing for the club, but for the player. I mean, you're just completely wrecking the most important stage of his career. 21-year-old striker who has done excellently for England under 21s. Whatever you think about the kid, he's obviously got complete talent. His record was better than Balogun's in the under 23s. So his kid's got something. And if we don't accept that 10 million quid or stop him from going, then we are just severely damaging that kid's career. And it could mean that he could never play in the Premier League ever. And he'll spend all his time in the lower leagues. If he wastes another season without playing football, it could lead to something like that. Because his development at his age is so important. And we're going to lose him for free in 4 months' time because he could sign for Leipzig or one of those clubs.
Yeah, in January, he's got control, doesn't he? In January, he can say, right, that's it. I'm off. Thanks very much. And, that's another young player that we lost. And as you say, record scorer for the 23s. He didn't look too bad in the pre-season, I saw.
Scored a very good goal in one of the games.
Better than anybody else. Sorry? Yeah, so
I said he scored a very, very good goal in one of the games.
Yeah. So, but all of a sudden, again, nowhere to be seen. I know he's probably had an injury, isn't he? I think, to be fair. But if you're not going to play them, don't keep them. Simple, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
exactly. If you're not going to play the players, don't keep them.
Yeah.
I told you.
Not heard of, is he?
What he does,
he's playing right back for England last year.
Yeah, true. I mean, with our manager, it seems that he keeps our players. He thinks they're antiques. They get better and more valuable as years go on. But that ain't the truth, is it? With footballers, they don't always go up in value. They normally go down.
We usually buy antiques though from Chelsea. To be fair,
give them a polish and find out they're no good.
And you say that now, Andrew. You've got 24 hours. That could still happen.
We went in for Ronaldo at 37. Ronaldo was our sort of player at the right age, isn't he?
Yeah, sure.
I know. But he's too good though. We should probably be going after to bring Giroud back from AC Milan for 15 million quid after they've just bought him for one, because he's about the right age for us and ex-Chelsea.
Well, Vabby's asking in the chat as well. Go on. So Roman's asking the chat says someone has to be getting money under the table somewhere, that brown envelope in situation, because none of our deals make any sense. Just think about it. What we are overpaying for players no one else is in for.
We've only
That's what
overpaid
that's
for
not.
Ben White.
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
only really
Ben White
overpaid for
didn't-
Ben White.
The rumour was, Andrew, that Leeds, who know a little bit about Ben White, they were offered him at 25 million last year and turned the deal down, and we're giving 50.
I know. We were totally overpaid for him, mate.
I mean, what they did,
Totally.
I think they sent Edu over to Brighton and buy the Puma, and he'd come back with the wrong geezer.
Well, they wanted to include Nketiah as part of that deal, and we said no. I mean, what actually? I mean, seriously, who's that guy? Is it John Henry at Liverpool who said, "What are they smoking down there?"
Yeah.
He's absolutely right. I mean, why would we turn that down? We could have say, I don't know, paid 30 and given them Nketiah to make up the rest. I think they would have been happy with that. But no. We'll keep Nketiah in. We'll give you 50 instead.
Just to make this consistent,
We won't play
the
him.
Willock
We
deal.
won't play him, but we'll keep him.
Exactly. On antiques. The Willock deal, they gave us 25 mil, didn't they? Just to make this sure. So I'm a bit worried now. We didn't give them 25 mil, did we? Because that would be consistent with the way we're doing deals.
Yeah.
Wasteful way of doing business.
No, we wanted a goal scoring midfield player, so we wanted a goal scoring midfield player, so we decided to sell him.
Yeah, I know.
Velma in the chat saying Arteta cannot
goals
get.
and
No, sorry. I was just saying. Velma in the chat, she's saying Arteta cannot get a single tune out of this team. What's new players going to do? It's the manager. Don't give him more money to burn. Well, 24 hours to go, basically. So they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. There's nothing we can do. It's out of our control.
I totally am of the thinking though that the players that we are bringing in, and let's forget about the prices and all that at the moment. The players that we are bringing in is something that I can personally, and I'm not speaking on anyone else's behalf, it's only my opinion. I'm actually quite happy with the direction of the age of these players and the look of them, where we're getting them from. We're getting them before we can't afford them, which is exactly what everyone wanted in the fan base. I'm quite happy with that, and I'm not too concerned about bringing in more players before the end of play tomorrow. Because even if Arteta and Edu go, then we've got a really good, nice-looking young squad, and we have got some good players. And I don't care what anyone says, a decent manager will get a much better tune out of these players. I'm absolutely convinced of that.
Absolutely.
I'm absolutely convinced of that. And we're building a squad finally that is going to be able to stay together for 2, 3, 4 years and build and get better and better and better. But I still think we're good enough to finish in the top 6 with the players that we've got, and hopefully, that'll only be strengthened by the end of play tomorrow.
With a decent manager, yeah.
Exactly. This is what I mean. So this is what regarding why would you give him any more money to spend before the end of the transfer window? I'm not too concerned about that, unless we go and do something absolutely mental. Which you wouldn't rule us out, would you? Wouldn't rule us out from doing that. But if we stick to a similar sort of plan, like going back to the Baldrick thing, I'm not too concerned about whether we bring in any more players and give him more money to spend, because I don't know whether any of you guys listened to the Askcast that came out today, by any chance.
I haven't listened to that one yet, but I do listen to it regularly.
It was really interesting because apparently, and this is something that I missed, but apparently Arteta was asked not too long ago, I don't exactly know when it was, but James was talking about it, saying that he's not convinced at all that Arteta is behind this. The young buying. It's not his strategy, because he came out and said the owners and the board presented me with this strategy and I back it, and I'm happy to go along with it. So if that is right, which I can't believe that it wouldn't be, because he said it was an actual quote, then getting rid of the manager is not going to affect the players that we're buying at the moment because he's working with that strategy. He's got a say in some of the players that we're bringing in, but they have to be fitting within this strategy, basically, of buying good quality young players before they get to the stage where we can't buy them anymore, like I've said. So I'm not concerned about him being given more money tomorrow to bring people in, because I think that whoever comes in is going to definitely just have to work with the players that he's given, and that is exactly what I want. And the fact that we changed Arteta to become manager rather than coach is one of the worst things that we could have done, because it takes away the main role of actually coaching these players and getting the best out of them. So I really hope that the next guy that we bring in, and which is one reason why I'm really concerned about Conte, the name of Conte, because he's a brilliant manager and he's won wherever he's gone. But he's not going to want to take on a project like that of working with young players and not being able to go and buy the best players. He's not that kind of manager, is he?
No.
So if we get the right guy in to replace Arteta, I'm not concerned.
If we stay as we are, Stan made a point just a little while ago that the youngsters won't want to play for us. They want to go elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the one I mean. This is the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think they're in danger of regressing. And I
with due respect,
I thought the same under Emery.
Smith Rowe is running around like a headless chicken, not because he's no good. He's got no one to give the ball to. He's the only one who shows any spirit. You get a little bit from Saka as well. Smith Rowe, in a couple of years' time, he'll be the bigger clubs, which there'll be 90% of them in the Premiership, the way we're going, will go, he's good, we'll have him. We'll have him. And Smith Rowe will go, you know what? Got a year on my contract. Do I want to be like a horse playing in this football? I don't want to enjoy my football. Because if things don't change, people like him and Saka will definitely go. I don't care what they got on their badge. It's irrelevant. They're professionals, and rightly so. They got to enjoy their football, and they got to have a heart in it. And if they don't do that, they will move on, and rightly so. I've got no problems with that at all. So we've got to be very careful.
We've got a question in the chat from Vamin as well. He's saying it feels that the club is extremely disconnected from the fans, has been for years from my perspective. Do you guys fear that Arteta will get a new contract? In quotes, God forbid.
I think he will. They'll definitely get. If we have a bad run next few games, but we beat Spurs, they'll probably double his wages. Job done.
My answer was before that. That question came up. I hadn't even given it a thought, but I wasn't worried about it at all. But now I am.
Oh God!
I mean, if they did that, then anyone that's ever seen my show in the past and that, I've told this story a few times where after we sold Robin van Persie to Man United, I stopped watching Arsenal for a couple of seasons and I couldn't have anything to do. I'm getting to that stage now, and if they did something like that, I would probably do something similar. I'd probably just have to walk away from football for the sake of my own mental health for a while, because it'd just be I just couldn't handle something like that. I'm getting to that stage already with what's going on. So I cannot bring myself to even believe that they would do anything so stupid. But who knows? Who knows?
It was watching it on Saturday. It was. I didn't want to turn it off, but I wanted to turn it off. I didn't want to go in the other room, but I did want to go. I thought, I've got to sit here. I hate this. This is horrible. I'm not enjoying it. All right, I'm not. The load of games I haven't enjoyed. It's not just because of that. I'm feeling embarrassed. I can't believe these guys are wearing this shirt. I don't want to see it, but no, I'll watch the end of the game. And I put myself through the torture. It's like fasting, isn't it? You don't want to fast, but you're doing it for a reason, for some reason. And that's what it was like watching that game. It was trying to pit yourself against the mental or the physical. You're trying to beat yourself up. And that's what I was doing watching that game on Saturday. That's what it was like.
Well,
I
think
I've never turned the game off in my life. Sorry, Steve.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. I've watched Arsenal for 50 years now. Good and bad. But I'll tell you what, I watched the whole game. Last season, there was 2 or 3 occasions where I didn't watch the end of the game, and I haven't watched the one of the weekend at all because I just think I can't be asked. And I think I put a tweet out a couple of times. If they can't be asked, why should I be asked?
And I'd never turned a game off in my life, genuinely, whilst I'm watching a TV game. And I turned it off after the sending off. I genuinely, I could not watch it anymore after such a. That was less than half an hour, wasn't it, or around half an hour mark?
25 minutes.
However,
I went on
however,
to scores and it was like 26 minutes, 3-0
Yeah.
card, I think. Yeah.
However, I've watched the whole thing back because I do what I do. I do what I do.
Like, seriously?
Yeah, because
I can't believe that. I'm serious now. I cannot believe you've done that.
I put myself through
You
that
dislike yourself.
because of podcasting and not wanting to know what I'm talking
You
about.
need to be drinking some of that, mate. That's what you need.
I bet
I
you
know.
never changed your mind, Andrew, when you watched it again. I bet you didn't change any of your ideas, did you, watching it again?
I got absolutely so angry whilst I was watching it. Absolutely. I mean, I actually, because I hadn't seen that thing going around Twitter at the time and all social media, that little clip I mentioned earlier about the pressing, where it's got Arsenal's press with like shocked faces and all that sort of stuff. And but I remember seeing that myself during the game, and I said to my sons who were here at the time, I said, just look at this. I paused it. I said, just look at this on the screen. And I said, what the hell is going on here? And I said to him what I'd said earlier as well. I said, is the manager telling them to do that? Or are they just not being able to be bothered to do it? I got so angry, but because I do enjoy it. It's only a hobby for me, clearly, but I do enjoy writing, articles. I enjoy going on podcasts like this one and doing my own stuff. So I thought I've got to watch the game because I need to know what I'm talking about. But I thought, what the hell am I doing? I genuinely thought, what the hell am I doing with my life watching this back? Because it was just so awful. I genuinely at parts I couldn't believe what I was watching, and I thought I had to ask myself a question because again, anyone that's ever heard me before in the past knows my lowest point watching Arsenal was that last part of Emery's reign. I've never been so downbeat. But I had to ask myself the question, is this as bad? And I actually think it really is now because, and I think what tips it over the scale is, what makes it worse, is that I never had any preconceived ideas. I never wanted Emery in the first place. If thinking back, and if you look back, I wanted Benitez after Wenger. I thought he would have been the absolute ideal candidate to steal the ship for 3 or 4 years after Wenger left because of his thick skin, because he's successful, because he's thick skin. He don't care what people think about him, and he gets results no matter what. So when Emery came in, I had no preconceived ideas. I did not think that he was going to be good or bad. I didn't know how it's going to go. But when Arteta came in and how everyone felt after his first press conference, and he said all the right things, what everyone wanted to hear, and I was really quite buzzing when he got the job, even though, again, he wasn't my first choice or anything like that at all. But he won me over. So I think the disappointment of him doing so badly has tipped it over the edge for me from the Emery era to make it even worse because I feel so utterly disappointed. I actually feel really let down by him because he's obviously the sort of guy who interviews and comes across in front of the cameras as an exceptional guy, human being. But he obviously is clearly a very, very rubbish manager. And I feel let down by him. And I think that's what's tipped me over the edge of making this even worse in the end of the Emery era at this point for me.
I mean,
I think you're right. I think he's, tactically, the players just don't get it, do they? Obviously, I mean, they must watch these games back, and you think, "What the hell are you doing?" You're obviously not listening to what I'm saying, or, as you've said, perhaps they are listening to what he's saying, and they are following his rules and tactics to the letter, and it's all going horribly wrong. Game after game, and you think, well, perhaps he is. He's obviously a good talker. He looks good. He talks a good game, and but there's been plenty of people out there that can have a good interview, but they actually can't do the job. And for me, it's turning into that's where he is. He he talks a good fight, but he can't actually do the job. He's got
Yeah.
some great players, potentially great players, and some good players. And he won't let go of the players that he doesn't want, which seems bizarre to me. If you don't want them, then get some money for them, move them on, get in a player that you do want, or promote one of the youngsters and keep Aziz and bring him through the side. But keeping Kolasinac and then playing him against the champions, it just doesn't make sense. Just does not make any sense at all.
Exactly. And if we'd have got rid of him in the
It
summer,
seems like he's lost the plot on the pitch, and the players have as well.
whoever we brought in, if we'd have got rid of him in the summer, let's face it, any other top club across Europe would have sacked him in the summer after the season because we finished 8th. It was a dreadful season. No other club our size would have kept him. Let's face facts. So if we'd have done that, and it's a sliding doors moment now because we wouldn't have seen Kolasinac lining up in a back three on Saturday. We wouldn't have, because Saliba would have been there. Because any other manager would realise that Saliba is a much better bet than most of the other centre backs that we've got.
And I think it was Glasgow Rangers. I was watching that game, and all of a sudden Kolasinac came on. I'd forgotten about him. All of a sudden, I got the old twitch again. The old twitch come back. You know what I mean? We got rid of him. We got rid of him, and he's in the first team now, in his wrong position. I don't know what his right position is, but in his wrong position, that's sackable in itself, isn't it?
I think we talked about the process. I mean, we've been going backwards, and you've got to break eggs to make an omelette and all of that. But how broken do we have to be before we can actually see us turning a corner? We're now bottom of the league, and as I said, in my lifetime, I've never seen it. I think it was 1953 last time we were bottom of the league after 3 games with no goals scored or something.
Well, before my time,
70 years we've got.
Melvin, I remember that.
Now we're setting.
I was at that game.
We're now setting records at the wrong end of setting records, aren't we? Now we're the worst at everything. Where we used to be, the leaders in most things. Now we're the worst team. We've got the worst transfer policy, and it's how far. I mean, we're bottom of the league, so there's only one way we can go now, isn't there? If we're going to carry on going backwards.
I think what makes it even worse is obviously with all this going on, we lose another record yesterday. Not Arteta's fault because obviously this is out of his hand. But the longest unbeaten run away from home? In the league had been broken yesterday by Man United, so we've lost that now. Everything we sort of had that gave us joy back in the day and pride in the club, pride in the shirt. We've lost. We're losing slowly and gradually, and whilst that's happening,
we're breaking records.
We're on a decline.
All the time.
We could be the first club could be the first club to sack a manager on transfer deadline day for not doing the business. How about that one?
We broke the record. We broke the club record of the least amount of possession in a game and the least amount of shots in a game as well yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah. We didn't have one on target, did we? We had one off target, didn't we?
Yeah.
One shot in the whole
19% possession, 19%.
One. We had 9% possession in the second half. And do you know, have a guess, and I hope, just for the sake of the show, neither of you have seen this. How many touches do you reckon that Aubameyang had in the second half?
I'm assuming nothing. Nothing.
0. Ryan's right.
What?
0.
I didn't even know the guess.
We never. At least he never gave the ball away.
Looks like.
Who'd have had 100% pass completion then?
Every Chelsea player, I believe I'm right in saying this. I'm sure it is. I'm sure I heard it this morning. Every Chelsea player had more touches than the Arsenal team put together. Every outfield player. Every outfield, clearly.
You talking about Chelsea or Man City, Andrew?
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Man City. Yeah. Beg your pardon.
Probably Chelsea as well. Just throw him in there for the fuck of it.
It's just
and that's your captain, isn't it, Aubameyang? That's your captain right there.
Yeah.
0
when did
contribution.
last time?
CIN, captain in name.
I mean, that's another thing. I'm sorry to keep going on and on and on and on. That's another thing about Arteta. The subs again. Everyone goes on about Arteta's subs. I mean, but what's the point in taking off Aubameyang and putting on Lacazette as if that's going to change anything? Like for like substitution. when you need to change your tactics drastically, and you just do a like for like. What's that going to do? What is that going to do? Do you think that because Aubameyang wasn't getting a touch, do you think that was Aubameyang's fault? So you replace him with Lacazette because he's bound to get touches. You actually have to solve the problem as to why Aubameyang isn't getting the touches and change the team shape. Do something. But no. What I'll do is I'll just put a new forward on. That'll change things dramatically. It's not, honestly, it's getting worse and worse. He's not got a clue what he's doing. And he's going through Clive Palmer's washing machine, and he's just going to go down and down and down. He's not. I don't think he's got the ability now to actually get out of this situation that he's in, because he's doing things and making decisions that just do not make sense to anyone else apart from him. And do they actually make sense to him, or is it just desperation now? Has he got to a stage where he's just clutching at straws, just trying to do something clever? Oh yeah, I'll bring in Kolasinac because that's the last thing they'll expect me to do. And he's a big, strong guy. They won't get through him. But he's not actually thinking it through properly. He's just thinking, I've got to do something here. I don't know. No one would have made that decision apart from him, would they? Who would have put
Who's this? Who's the Atlantic, Andrew? Who's this? The Atlantic PR? Who's that?
Oh, I think it means the Athletic. I think.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you.
Do you think our opponents bother looking at our team sheet before they play us these days?
No.
Do they think they're worried about what we might do, apart from have a lot of possession?
I mean,
probably nobody's worried about playing up anymore.
Midfield against Man City, you've got to shut midfield down. I mean, we all know how many passes they make across midfield, and why would you only put one midfielder in there, like in Xhaka, and have like three up front? Basically, have a front four of Saka, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Aubameyang. I mean, what does he expect Odegaard, who is an out-and-out number 10? Let's have him playing as a number 6. When you've got, if you wanted to play, you've got El Neni on the bench. But no, I'll just stick Odegaard up front and just leave El Neni on his own to cover all of that space in front of our back back five. But what kind of madness is that, right? When
you can't make it up. I've never picked his team. I've never picked his selection, got close to it, and never will. What is going to change, gentlemen? What will get us in the top half of the division? Now, that's all we could possibly hope for. With a bit of luck, top 8, top 6. What has got to change? Is it only the manager or other things?
Well, I think you're going to be looking at a different team against Norwich, you would hope, wouldn't you? I mean, Partey's going to come back, and Ben White and Gabriel, but then Gabriel's a young player as well, isn't he? So
he's had a big injury this summer as well.
Yeah, so you'll have 2 or 3 extra players coming in, but tactically, that's not going to make any difference, is it? Because you've still got the same man making the decisions, and
still the same system.
We could beat Norwich somehow. We'd have to score first, obviously, but we could beat Norwich, and then everything's hunky dory. Then is it for a couple of games?
Steve, are you listening to yourself? We could beat Norwich. When have you ever said that?
I know.
I was waiting for him to finish. I was waiting for him to finish to say that.
Have you ever said that before in your life?
I think we could finish 6th, but I mean, hell of a lot's got to change for us to finish 6th. That's for sure.
When we got Arteta and we played Norwich, was it his first or second game that he took over? It was Bournemouth, then Norwich, wasn't it? I think.
No, it was Bournemouth, Chelsea, United, first 3 games.
Okay, when he was very soon after though.
It was Norwich. We played Norwich in the return of the Premier League, the back end of the return of the Premier League, basically.
Yeah.
We only just beat them. Yeah,
we only beat them like it was far closer. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near like that this time.
We ain't going to have any easy games this season. We're not going to have any easy games this season. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Norwich always scored more goals than us.
You asked that question.
Everybody has.
What has to change?
Yeah.
There's only one possibility if we don't sack the manager and get a new one in, and that is if they do genuinely have this clear the air meeting, and that includes all his backroom staff as well.
All 98.
And Arteta actually swallows some of his pride and takes on board everyone's feedback and say, look, Kolasinac coming in, what the fuck was that all about? Arteta? And he has to say, well, actually, yeah, that was a bit ridiculous. If he swallows some of his pride and starts playing to his team's strengths, his players' strengths, and thinking, right, we've got to do something serious here and go back to basics, right? Let's just put everyone back to basics. Put all the players up against the wall like in a school hall and start picking them out one at a time. Who's going to be the best right back for this game? Who's got our best two central defenders? Who's our best actual left back? Who's best in midfield? And put everyone in their rightful positions and tell them to play their natural game. I think that's the only way out. But is that happen?
The manager ain't going to the players.
No, he's going to swallow his pride. It's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen.
When did players having secret meetings become a thing? Because back in the day, the players played, the manager managed. That was it.
Well, it's not a secret meeting if he announces it on Sky Sports, so is it?
Meetings that we had as players in Arsenal club over the last few years. How many behind the club doors they've had secret meetings about? Let's sort all this out. Well, Jesus, that's what the manager's for, surely.
They're so secret that everyone knows about them, Steve.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We know about them all.
Yeah.
What's his leadership, Steve? You have a captain, don't you? Maybe a vice captain. That's it.
Well, that's what most clubs do. We haven't had the leadership or vice captains for God knows how long.
Well, yeah.
Well, to be fair, the only only leader we really have in our squad, not in our club, is Tierney.
Yeah,
and everyone will go, but he's always injured. He's injured.
I think Odegaard.
I'm going to say something.
Odegaard.
I'm going to say something. I'm not going to very popular. I think he goes down too easy, Tierney. I'm sorry.
Oh, he does. I totally agree with you. He's doing my head in, to be honest.
He goes down, he holds his face, he holds his shoulder. I don't know what he holds. I hope he's got warm hands in certain respects.
He got past Walker.
I don't like that. Listen, he's injury prone, as we know. We're all worried every time he goes down. Oh, no, he's injured. And all of a sudden he's up spriting. He's all right. Thank God he is all right. But he goes down looking for it the whole time. I don't like that in any plan. He's a tough little sod, and he don't need to do it.
He's been doing it all along. He went down. He went round Walker at one point, got round him at the touchline, and then he threw himself on the floor in the box. Do you remember? Against City.
Yep.
What the hell was that all about? He was totally clear. Totally clear.
And like the commentator said at the time, Andrew, the commentator said, well, he must have been touched, because otherwise why would you go down? Very good question. Why did he go down?
He's done that since he joined us, actually, and it does annoy me about him. And I've mentioned that before, and it is something that's really, he's got to cut out of his game, because it's embarrassing now. It's actually embarrassing.
Who's going to tell him, Andrew? Who's going to tell him? No one at the club.
Yeah. That's the problem. It was asked in the chat earlier about Arteta hiring yes men as his coaching setup. We've mentioned this before in previous podcasts back in the last season. None of them screamed that they would dare talk up and say, actually, come on, this has got to change, that's got to change, or your player's injured, get him off for his own safety. There's nothing there. There's no one of experience to point to a sign and say, Mikel, this is where we're going wrong. You need to sort of work together now and sort of fix this ASAP, or it could get out of control. I think has it too cushy there, way too cushy, and people then don't. We'll talk about obviously the possibility of him being sacked and all that. You've got people either Arteta in or just in general going, well, the media as well, or they've spent all this money, they're not going to sack him. Why? The point is they've spent the money and we're declining. Should be a massive warning sign to the owners itself. It's end of the day, it's their investment. The club is an investment to them. No matter what we think about them, it's a major investment. It doesn't look good. The biggest asset they have is falling apart at the seams. We've seen at the back end of Wenger, the only reason that happened in the end is because the attendances of fans started voting with their feet. Same with Emery. That last game with someone in the chat, Emily, it was like 2,000 people, if that, there in the stadium that night, in the 60,000 capacity stadium for the Europa League home game. We lost it 2-1. He was sacked immediately the next morning. As soon as he turned up, he was gone. And I've seen people today going, "Oh yeah, I've got tickets to Aston Villa and things like that." I'm like, "You're not helping the issue. You're literally giving them you're complaining about the owners. You're giving them money. You're complaining about the manager, but you're willing to go and see him and this, that, and the other. Go and see the players that are constantly letting you down, giving you headaches, this, that, and the other, heartache, and ruining your weekend, week in, week out. But you're all there giving it the big I am, AFT, like going after AFTV, like AFTV run the club. Yes, the setup of the channel has gone the way it has, and it doesn't abode to where we as fans wanted it to go, but it's gone that way. That's not under our control. What is under our control is making our voices heard, but to the people that actually run the club, to the manager, to the director of football. I mean, I've seen today. I put a screenshot of it and sent it in the group chat earlier. Ray Parler's saying on TalkSport apparently that he's over the weekend he spoke to Mark Overmars from Ajax. Mark Overmars, and basically Mark Overmars is actually saying, "I want to be there." I've been saying for the last year he'd be perfect because he's experienced, he knows what he's doing, this, that, and the other. Look what he's got track record. Wherever he's gone, things have got positive and gone in the right direction. Yeah, and he's literally now coming and saying, "Come and get me, come and get me. I want to fix this." That's someone begging, literally an Arsenal man begging. And he knows what he's doing. Yes, he might the fee. Maybe it comes down to that, the fee of the particular person in question. Maybe it is a bit cheaper. You get what you pay for. Then if you're going to go for cheap, you get what you pay for. When we go down this route,
Yeah, well,
just because it works out in America with the LA Rams and his hockey team, doesn't mean it's going to this system of hiring young rookies is going to work in the Premier League. It isn't. We knew that well beforehand.
Yeah, but
Well, none of the other big clubs, the other big clubs have gone out and hired a rookie manager, have they? None of them.
Well,
So
Chelsea did. Chelsea did, or even though he'd had a bit of time at Derby County,
Well,
they
exactly,
still
but
took him on. But they
managed-
sacked him within 12 months or whatever it was.
Well, exactly.
And hired, look what they've gone and hired. And look
Exactly.
What they are now.
Exactly.
Like that.
Exactly. But Arteta's come in with no management experience at all.
I know, ridiculous. And
Just
when you look back now,
play with half a billion, billions of players, and that's easy, isn't it? Really, let's be honest. If you can just continually spend £100 million on players and just bring in 2 teams and even Arteta could probably manage that team, couldn't he? But you come into our club and you've got to actually turn average players into good players. You just can't do it. And it's a shame. I wanted him to do it, and I still want to do it, but I just don't think he can.
no, exactly. And one other question is, right? Argument's sake, Arteta is sacked straight during this show. He's sacked. Who's making the decision as to who to bring in? Who's going to bring in the new manager?
Well, that's Edu's job, isn't it? That's part of his
it
mantra,
really?
apparently. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. When he was hired, Sky did a big in-depth thing about it, what his roles would be, and basically he's in charge when it comes to the manager hiring and firing. That's part of his role, apparently.
So if they sack
Director of football.
Edu, what would happen to Arteta then?
Exactly.
He's on literally limited time. Then he's on limited time.
It's been widely reported recently that since he was a manager, been promoted to manager, that he's basically running the club, and Edu
He's basically doing nothing. Yeah.
Realistically underneath Arteta now, in terms of the hierarchy. So he ain't going to be. He's not going to go and sack him.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
But the director will sack the manager, not Edu, or either way around. Whoever gets sacked out of those two, it's the directors. That's
Is it Vinay or is it the Cronkies?
the directors.
That'd be Vinay.
But it was said he's got 5 games. It was said he's got 5 games, and we heard that after the Brentford game. So in effect, he's got 2 more games to get this right, or at least show some improvement and get a result. And before we go, play Tottenham or whatever, and you just think, if we've gone 4 or 5 games and we're still bottom 3, you can't go on like that, can you?
No, but above Edu, though, we've got no football people there at all.
No.
We've got Vinay, you've got Tim Lewis, and you've got Richard Garlick. And then you've got the Cronkies, and that's it, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
None of them are from football background.
So who does Arteta turn to for advice and help?
Only Edu, that's it.
Yeah.
Purely. Must be only Edu.
Well, Edu and Richard Garlick.
How many Premier League clubs has Edu managed, or top European clubs have Edu
This is
managed?
it.
None.
This is it.
No.
So,
Exactly.
you know, it's all ideas, isn't it? Well, let's try this. Or, let's try that. Let's put Kolasinac
It's all
in the back
guesswork,
and
yeah,
do
keep
this.
changing.
And that didn't work. Oh well, you know, let's try something else next week.
It's all guesswork basically. It's
all
pissing me
guesswork,
off.
isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
we
it's all
said
guesswork.
before about having a stable back four. You know, and they support each other. When you just chop and change every week, you're never going to build up a rapport with your, fellow players, are you? You're just never going to happen.
We haven't had the same back two, I don't think, many games running, have we?
No.
Certainly two centre halves. When have we had the centre half pair in the last year or so? It's chop and change of just the centre halves alone. You can't have that. I'm sorry. Can't be done.
No.
Said
It's not his
Vinay,
fault that Ben White went down with COVID, is it? I mean, that's half the team went down with COVID. You can't alter that, can you? But you could still persist with Mari. Mari doesn't turn into a bad defender overnight, does he?
No.
He would. He would have been a better option than playing Kolasinac anyway.
Yeah. And again, like you say, it doesn't help when he keeps changing his formation or his back line. He doesn't have a settled back line. He doesn't have a settled spine. First and foremost.
Who is it?
You don't mess with the defence. You just got to keep a stable defence wherever possible. It's just that's one area of the pitch you just do not keep chopping and changing. You've got to have a stable defence.
Before this window, we knew our deficiencies. We knew we had to buy a decent right back. We knew we had to buy a decent defensive midfielder. We bought neither, and we spent 78 million on a goalkeeper. He might be terrific in a couple of years, I don't know. But we had Ryan. He would have been a great backup for this season, Ryan. No, it would have cost us no money at all. Right, that's 28 million saved, ching. And we bought a centre half who potentially could be good. Again, I don't know. 50 million, he's got to go some, hasn't he? And we didn't really, that wasn't our worst area. We didn't, again, go to our worst areas and make it better. We just left those two areas alone. And we put more wallpaper on the new wallpaper we've just bought. Instead of painting the skirting board that was all crap. We've done it again and again and again. And it drives me mad. So I can't believe we're starting this season. I've started this season and possibly continue till January, and perhaps longer than that we haven't got a top-class right back, haven't got a top-class defensive midfielder. And we do, not us as fans, but the club deserves what they get on that basis.
Stan in the chat saying changing the back line is consistent. It's constantly affecting Leno's form. Don't even get me started on Leno. I mean, the goals he conceded as well. I'm sorry, most of them goals we conceded, he should be doing better. But when Rodri scores, it's at his near post. The shots at his near post. I mean, when the ball goes in, should be getting down. But he's massive. He should be having problems getting down that low that quickly. I mean, the first goal, he hesitates. He comes up, and again he could about the back line, but he doesn't command his box. I've never seen him, even under Emery, command his box or nothing. And I'm just done by Ramsdale.
He's got zero. I mean, I was really impressed. I think Ramsdale's a better goalkeeper than Leno at the moment. I have to say.
Yeah,
he's got more confidence. He's more commanding. He's got more confidence. His decision making is much better, much quicker than Leno. Leno dithers. He's like one of these geriatric drivers who's 85 going down the road, and because they're so stuttery and their decision making is so poor, they cause more accidents than people that go fast. He's like one of those drivers, Leno. He's so dithery. He doesn't know whether, especially on the ball, when he's got his ball at his feet, it's just he's got to be so decisive, and he's just the opposite. He's absolute opposite. And when he comes, there's so many goals. I've lost count of the amount of goals. He should have come out and claimed the ball. He should have been more commanding of his box, punched it, done whatever. Get people out of your way. And he just doesn't do it anymore. And whether he ever did it in the first place, I don't know really. But he's just not vocal enough. And he's playing like someone that just doesn't want to be at the club as well. He's literally playing like someone that just wants to leave. So we've got to change the goalkeeper as well. We've got to put Ramsdale in for the next game, as far as I'm concerned.
I think you pulled Ramsdale for the future, but I think he's ready now.
I do. Yeah.
It could be. You might be.
Worse.
You might be.
Could be
Steve,
worse,
yeah.
you know. He's confident. He can make quick. Leno can't make quick decisions when he's got the ball at his feet, and the opposing team know that, you know, and they're just put him under pressure, and he'll kick it into touch. He'll give it to the wrong player who's under pressure. You know, Ramsdale seems to see the game. It's almost like he's got that vision. He can see the players, and he seems to know where he's got. I know we've only actually seen him play once, to be fair, but he didn't put a foot wrong, did he? He could mark it up. You could hear him shouting. You could hear him saying, you know, he's coming for the ball. He's taking the ball rather than punching. You know, and he was in control of his box, wasn't he? And
if he does very well, Ramsdale, I can see us.
Yeah, he does.
I can actually see us selling the Villa next year.
Well, that could be the same for a lot of young players, couldn't it? You know, they could have a year at Arsenal and then move on. But
yeah, we're a feeder club to Villa. Yeah,
possibly. But
I thought that he got away, Leno, and he's on shot stopping. He's very good actually, but he's crossing. He's like no good. But I think he got away quite lightly against Chelsea when we needed a goal. Not like we're going to score one, but he held the ball for so long.
Every time.
You're waiting. Get rid of it. Do something with it. We want to go. We want to attack. Get the momentum going, and he just. I mean, that's not manager's fault, right?
But that's just
we have to go in because he's doing the short ball the whole time, which is dangerous. We don't like that. That might be the manager telling him to play that way, right? Fair enough. But the manager ain't going to tell him. So you what? If you got a chance, sit on that ball for 10 seconds because it's really going to improve our game. Can't be. I'm sorry.
You see that?
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, you see that, and the other thing the other little clip going around on Twitter about the goal we scored. What was it? 12 months ago, or was it, or 2 years ago? Can't remember. Before, actually, no, it must be the season before last, when we played the ball out from the back, and it was a beautiful move. And who was in goal then? It was Martinez, and that makes such a difference. It makes such a difference that all the defenders have so much confidence in him that it gives them confidence on the ball, and it spreads. And you can see that they don't do that under Leno. They've got no confidence in Leno. And you said about the Chelsea game, Melvin, he got away lightly with that. What about Brentford when he was being held for that throwing goal? What'd you do?
Second.
You make sure that bloke is pushed out the way, and the referee deals with that before the corner is taken, the cross is put in.
I mean, we talk about mad Germans and all that. We had one in the Enzaman years ago, and that was part of his mantra that if Robbie Keane or Drogba got in his way, he'd make his presence out and go, fuck off. He'd shove him over. He'd literally shove him on and risk taking the penalty. But he had that shit housey about. That's the thing. He had that shit housey about him. And people mentioned this a few weeks ago. I said, after the Brentford game, I was like, maybe go and get a goalkeeping coach of either Lehmann or someone of that ilk who has that experience as a goalkeeper, as an ex-player, that has that shit housey in him to try and coach it into this goalkeeper, because I've seen nothing of a mad German in this guy. He's too soft.
No, he's coming across as a wimp, and you know, he's like the sort of person that was maybe as a boarding school, and he used to get the old wet towel whipped on his arse all the time, and he just did nothing about it. That's what he's like with defenders. You just make sure that defender is out of your face. You get rid of them, and you alert the referee to the fact that you're being held by this player, and you ain't going to let it happen. So it's just he's got no presence at all, Leno.
He reminds me, Leno. Who was the goalkeeper we had? I should know when mine's going. Number 2 to Czech. The South American goalkeeper.
Spina.
Reminds me of him.
Spina.
Every game he went down like he was poleaxed. He had in my opinion, he was bottled it a bit.
Yeah.
He had no presence at all. Again, a very good shot stopper. He reminds me of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you gave Arteta 10 minutes on Leno, he'd give you every good reason why he's his first choice.
No, yeah.
Because otherwise, if he was listening to what everybody else is saying, he'd think, yeah, they're right. But he obviously doesn't think that, does he? He's got a completely different opinion, and that's the same with all his players. Whatever we see and talk about, we're obviously wrong because he doesn't see it. He'll give you a good argument on all of that.
Yeah. And what goes against that as well, if he did do that, which he probably would because it is Arteta, is at the early stages of this transfer window, we're looking at Onana from Ajax, the young goalkeeper there. Obviously, you've got a ban and all that, but you got reduced and all that, and the price was looking around 6 million. Well, you're not going to bring a goalkeeper of that ilk from Ajax, who's got Champions League experience as well, to be number 2. Obviously, once he got his ban and all that. So what does that tell you? And then suddenly, again, it's like he changes his mind. No, okay, you know what? I've got full faith in you now. I'm going to go and get a backup base. But for the time being, we're spending 26 million pound as it stands, plus add-ons, for Ramsdale to be a number 2 at the moment.
If we were a big club, we'd have bought Ramsdale for 24, 26, whatever it is, and we'd have got rid of Leno for 17, 18. Yeah. Thank you very much. Exactly. That would have been shrewd, but it is Arsenal you're talking about.
No one wants Leno. Not like all the other of our players. No one wants him.
And what does that tell you about Leno as a goalkeeper then? That no one wants him, not even Norwich would want him. No, Tim Krul.
Well, the player
there last season, they knew that he wanted to move.
Like all of them.
He wants to play for Bayern Munich one day and all that, yeah.
Nobody wants him, and so now I'm staying.
What about Granit Xhaka, who, plays out of his skin for his country, who looks outstanding in the Euros? He actually bossed the midfield against bloody France, for crying out loud. And no one wants him. No one will pay more than 12 million for him. But they'll go and spend, the same club will go and spend 40 million on Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, what does that tell you?
Tammy Abraham's a much better player. That's what it tells you. They're not fools.
When you look at the World Cup, the Euros, I mean, I'm sorry, but when you've got a 28-year-old midfielder who's like one of the players, he actually got in the team of the tournament, didn't he?
Mm.
And you telling me you can't even get more than 12 million for him?
Well, apparently not.
Exactly.
That's right. Not one club in the world wants to pay. Not one of the remaining Premiership teams want to spend more than 12 million or get any price on Xhaka. And he's proven. He's proven in the Premiership. So there's no problem about that playing in the league. They know he had a fantastic European Championship. He's captain of his country. He's this, that, and the other, and yet they don't want to pay more than 12 million or make any type of bid. What's that tell you? They know he's poor. They know.
So, what do you do then? What do you do in that situation? You absolutely do not give that player an extension to his current contract
and a bonus to boot, and then give him the armband as well when Bamyang's not playing.
It's just, I mean, I'm lost for words, mate. I'm honestly, you can go through every position in this team and just show the incompetence of what's gone on in the past. Like I said, the one thing I was clinging on to for happiness was that finally we actually showing we're doing things in the transfer market that makes us look like we're going in the right direction by buying younger, hungry, talented players. And then, after that step forward, you take 3 back by re-signing Xhaka.
I'm
playing class match
and holding on to Eddie and just refusing to sell players and
we only got rid of
holding
William
players against their will.
Prepared to tear up his contract, otherwise he'd still be in here as well.
I mean, that's another thing. What other club in not just England, in Europe or in the world, would sign a player on a free? Give him a 3-year contract, and after 12 months, let him go for free. Want him to demand a fee for him?
Well,
but that's what we do. That's how we do our business, and that's what you just can't get your head around it. You know. But other clubs manage to sell players at a profit, don't they? A lot of clubs sell players at a profit. When was the last time we sold a player at a profit? All right, will it possibly? But you know, it's a very short list, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we're the sort of club that have to pay players to leave.
We did that in January. January's just gone. We did all the players we got rid of. We actually had to go take a loan out. Another loan out to get rid of them.
And you want
Virgil, we had to pay
more money. He's probably thinking, do you know what? You've had enough.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to if that is the case, if he's actually thinking that, he's going. We're hearing reports that Josh and Stanley are in agreement that he's not the right man for the job, but they're not willing to sack him yet, and they're going to give it a couple more games, and no matter what happens, he's gone. Well, hang on, this is international break now. This will be perfect if you had someone in mind, if this is the thing, if you have someone in mind, you're talking to people, because that's what a top club does when they think about sacking someone. They go and put the feeds out, see who's interested. Once they've got that in place, they sack the current guy, bring in a new guy, and it's sort of been perfect timing because of what's happened in the sense of what's happened, performances, this, that, and the other. Get rid of Arteta, bring in whoever, Conte, Ten Hag, whoever. Then 2 weeks, the majority of this squad to get things going again and steady the ship and tell them what's what, basically. Because most of our players, that's another thing, most of our players aren't even international players anymore. They're basically either retired or just don't get picked for their national teams. So you've got most of your squad you're going to be with, so you've got no excuses there. And then we start the ground running, no, it's at home. Put a marker down with a new manager. Good, comfortable win. We move on. Burnley the following week. We can do what we've got to do there. Did North London derby. As it stands, under Arteta,
we need a lid.
I don't think a top manager would look at our club as a good platform. Because a lot of top managers would say, "Well, what's the budget?" Well, we haven't got one. We spent it. Okay, so what's
what are you going to do for me then?
To turn this team round.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do for me to help me fix your problem then? Because you caused this, so you need to help me.
My reputation's on the line now, and what are you going to do? I don't believe these players that you've bought are at the standard we need to take my project forward. So why would I want to come and sign for Arsenal as a manager, as a top manager? Yeah.
And that's going to be down to the Conkies and Edu and Vinay and the rest of the board to get the head out their asses and convince these top managers, because that's the one thing that's come lacking so far in the previous two. And if they do, they do it. They can't go back in their work. They went after Conte and they do what they've done. They do what Inter Milan done. Sorry, we've seen. He'll just go, okay, bye bye, see you later. Give me my payment. I'm off, and we're back to square one again. So they need, if they want to go for something like Conte, yes, it's a short-term thing of his age and all that, but it steadies the ship, it gets things back on track. If you want later on down the line, a long-term manager, a Ten Hag or something like that, or an Galsman, if you can somehow prize him away from Bayern Munich now, then fair enough. But you need to now go and get that real experienced manager to come in and steady the ship. I don't care who it is, as long as it's not some man does land in Partridge, because that's another thing. I've had that in my head all weekend that they're going to go and do that.
Alan Kirbishley.
Or Kirby's out. Who hasn't managed since West Ham in 2007? And we're in 2021. Bloody hell! But it wouldn't surprise me.
I think we need someone like Allardyce. We need somebody like Allardyce now, because he'll get us out of bottom three.
Oh, just don't say that, Steve. Nothing is ever that bad.
Now all of you listeners to switch off.
I'm going to bookmark that comment.
Yeah, but I'd rather end up going to the Samaritans and anything than have to go through that, mate.
You think, Andrew, and I don't want him at the club for obvious reasons.
Well, don't go down that road, Melvin. I'm going to switch off. I'll tell you now.
All right, no, just a question. Do you think Allardyce would get more or less out of these players than Arteta?
I'm not even answering the question. I'm not answering the question. I'm not going to get drawn into it, mate. I'm telling you now.
So I'm losing the connection. Sorry.
I won't make up crap like that and, try and cheat like Tierney does. I'll just tell you the truth. I'll just switch off.
Jesus. It's getting bad, though, when you start looking at people that you want to get and you're not looking that high, are you?
And not Eddie Howe either, for crying out loud.
No. Yeah, was it Russ in the chat? Jesus Christ. Winds me up because I said Eddie Howe ain't ready. Oh, he did well at Bournemouth. He did all this. He did okay. He did okay at Bournemouth. He did okay. But that's Bournemouth. All due respect, it's Bournemouth. We need someone that's been at a top level club.
Have a look at the Bournemouth results. Every year he was there post Christmas. Literally got all his points he needed before Christmas, and then just thought, I ain't got to win any games now. Just literally went right off a cliff after Christmas and the run up, and just survived by the skin of his teeth at the end of it every single year.
So positivity? Is there any positivity?
We've got 2 weeks off. That's a positive. The Arsenal women to cheer us up. Arsenal women's playing tomorrow night and on the weekend, opening season for them.
We haven't got to worry about
Covering
that.
that.
Did we? We haven't got to worry about
Just covering that Russ Morgan's comment. You take it off the screen.
Oh dear. Oh my god! But yeah, I mean,
We
yeah,
run
as I was
out of
saying,
state now, haven't we?
that's the positive about Arsenal. It's literally Arsenal Women's Week now. As in, got Champions League first leg
Yeah.
properly tomorrow night.
Chelsea at the
Didn't have
weekend, haven't we? Ladies
And Chelsea at the weekend, yeah, at the Emirates as well. Which again, I'm not going to, but I do know what's on for it here and all that, covering it all. But yeah, okay, there's nothing to be positive about because in the sense of we've just been drummed 5-0. We ain't scored any goals. We ain't got any points. We're rock bottom of the league. That lot of fucking what makes it worse? That lot of top and rubbing it in, and it's. And the owners, as I said, there's reports going around that they accept that he's not good enough, that he needs to go, but they're not doing it now.
I don't believe in any reports.
No, I don't either. They wouldn't do anything until the second international break at the earliest, in my opinion. But what was really annoying, it was we were all crying out for Emery to go by the second international break. And do you remember they didn't do it, and then until early
2-3 weeks later,
December.
Yeah.
And then they wasted that opportunity to get someone in place before that second international break so he could spend 2 weeks with the players and getting to know the staff and all the players and, to have some time on the training pitch. They don't do the sensible options like that, do they?
And we're doing it, and they're doing it again now.
I think the thing with that, though, is that back then we were still the top 6 side, weren't we?
Yeah, we weren't this bad. We were dropping off, but we weren't this
in
bad.
the position we are now, 3 games in, bottom of the league, no points, no goals. We weren't in that position.
I think we dropped to about 12 at one point, didn't we?
But now we're in a position whereby we can't just keep losing games. Just can't do it.
No, we can't.
No, I mean, we haven't touched it. We haven't touched on it yet so far on this podcast. The reports this week, this last 7 days about possible the other half of the Dubai royal family wanting to buy Arsenal. Apparently,
yes, please.
What family? What family?
I think it's Dubai side, the PSG. The owners of
Qatar.
PSG, the Qatar
Qatar.
side.
The brother of the PSG owner, isn't it?
Yeah. But the other half of that family, want to buy Arsenal apparently. So
apparently they've got $315 billion of personal wealth.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
On Arsenal was not really like going to buy a car, isn't it? Really.
The analogy that I used on Twitter, I put a tweet out there about it, saying that because obviously, there's all the human rights atrocities to deal with and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I said the analogy that I used was it's like eating a cheap sausage. You just got to not think about what's inside it and just enjoy it in your sandwich. So I just want, I would rather have the success, the money spent on the team and my club being brought back to where it was in the past. And if it's not us, they'll buy someone else. They could buy Spurs, they could buy West Ham, they could buy Newcastle. And then that's another club we're behind. That's another club that we will never catch up. So I just want to be, I'd rather be in it to win it, basically, rather than be another also round and do it all things the right way and just get left further and further behind.
I mean, if we don't start playing the money game, then we'll never catch up, unfortunately. I know historically we don't, want to spend that sort, but I think nowadays, if you want to be at the top table, you've just got to spend the money and have the investment to spend it. Because otherwise, as you say, the bigger teams will just keep spending. I mean, what's the next level? £200 million for a player next season. I mean, they'll just keep doing it, and they'll just keep moving further away.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For me, I would if that did happen, and it's probably I'm being a bit sensitive here. I would 100% stop watching Arsenal. 100% if they took it over. Various reasons, human rights, and other reasons as well, which I won't go into. I would 100%. I can't prostitute myself. I can prostitute myself to a degree, but not to that degree. Sorry. I might have an owner who's American, who I don't particularly like, not doing the right things, hold my nose about the smell and watch the Arsenal. Well, that's what I'm doing at the moment. If the Qataris got involved, and I've had a spat with someone on Twitter, a Chelsea supporter, about that, some clown about that. He was trying to defend them on certain issues. Anyway, I would 100%. I would like get a divorce from the Arsenal. 100%. I love the Arsenal.
I'm going to say as well, actually, Melvin, and I'm going to, I'm not backtracking and flip flopping on this, and I'm going to actually be serious for once because I know I'm not very often, but I would actually take time to fully look and read into these everything that I needed to read about these people, and actually fully research the subject. I know I was like a bit light-hearted just then about that situation, but I could quite easily see myself actually following you down that road, and I'm being completely honest there, because I know I don't know everything that I need to know about the subject, and I shouldn't have made light of it. I really shouldn't. It's not a funny and laughing matter. I would have to do my complete due diligence in order to make that decision rationally as well. And I'm being that's exactly my point. And I'm not saying I totally take back what I actually said, and it's not because I'm flip flopping. I actually want to be serious here, because I could see myself doing exactly the same thing as you, Melvin.
I think where the money comes from is very, very important. I get your point on that. I think my point was just really about if the right person came in with the right amount of money, then I think we would take it. But you would look at where that money comes from first, and that would have a bearing on what we do next, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's not a laughing matter, and I'm really, I should never.
No, Andrew, there's no problem with it. I ain't got a problem.
No. It's an important thing to me.
You were quite honest. It's great. Both ways, on both sides. It's great, no problem.
No, it's an important thing to me, because that money is absolutely not everything. It absolutely isn't. And some of my life choices completely back that up. What I'm saying, there's so many more things. It's more important than money. But I would genuinely, and that's I put my hand on my heart and say I would definitely do the due diligence on these people, and I would probably come up to the same conclusion as you. But what Steve said is the key thing. It's if the money comes in from the right type of people, the right fit and proper people, then that's the only way we're going to actually seriously challenge for the title in my lifetime again, because we're just getting further and further behind every year. And if we are left out of being taken over by a mega rich billionaire who actually cares about the club and cares about football and knows a bit about football, unless that happens, then it's just going to get worse and worse every year as each one goes by. It genuinely is. There's no competition anymore. There's literally no competition anymore. We will be playing for 5th and 6th maximum. No chance of top 4. And there's no chance of top 4 at the moment if we're realistic now either. But because you've got Liverpool, you've got Man United, who are just slightly behind the likes of Man City and Chelsea. But before too long, there will be another Qatari takeover or other takeovers that put other clubs into the alongside Chelsea and Man City, and then that's the top four done. The top 4 is done then year on year, because money always rises to the top when it comes to football. So what do you play for then? Literally, the maximum you can ever get is the Europa League, and then another couple of years down the line, then the maximum we can actually look at going for is the Europa Conference, because 2 more teams would have been taken over in the meantime. So something has to happen with our club at some point. But it is very, very true that we have to be wary and educated on who that would be should it come to that situation.
And Gary says in the chat here. No, so I was about to say, Gary says in the chat here, everybody in there has its skeletons in their closet. If you look deep enough, and at what level of ignorance is, we are human. Some of us some of us do bad things, but there are levels, and obviously that's what I was going back to. Basically, confirm what we're all saying basically, and there's the levels, and yeah.
I think
That
to
Qatar is-
become
yeah.
billionaires, you have to step on toes, don't you? There's no
Oh,
way
yeah.
you don't get
Even the
to be a billionaire
conkies.
by being nice and but
True.
Elon Musk came in and decided he wanted to get involved in football, or or Bezos, you'd look at it again, wouldn't you, and think, well, do they like football? Do they watch football? And it's maybe it's a consortium, maybe it's not just one person, maybe it's a group of like-minded multi-millionaires that can put the money in the club. What I'm saying is that, to be honest, the only way we're really going to really compete again is if somebody does come in with the right amount of credentials and money. We're not going to, a Leicester's not going to come along, is it, where a manager comes in and everything falls into place and they go through a season and, with spending very little money and, that's not really going to happen again, is it? I don't think. The big clubs are going to get bigger, and if we want to be big again, we're going to have to try and compete at some level.
Yeah. Stan in the chat says as well, a bit of tongue in cheek in the question here, but what if the British royal family made a bid for join Arsenal? Would Prince Andrew be enough put in a factor?
Prince Andrew wouldn't be around. Trust me. He would not be involved.
Say that.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's never been given the chance to be a manager, though, has he, Andrew? He might be all right.
He's got more experience than Arteta, probably.
I think I've moved
I
into
think,
an
Stan,
alternative.
you've been a bit tough there, Stan. Sorry.
I think I've moved into an alternative universe with that question. This is now a parallel whereby we're going to be run by the royal family.
I'd rather have the royal family, as in like Jim Royal, take than the actual royal family. At least he knows a bit about football.
Yeah, but
He used to be the England manager.
Yeah, he did really well.
Pretty good job. Semi-finals of the World Cup.
Jesus Christ. I think I'm going to have to log off in a minute, guys.
I think we're going to wrap things up as well. Need 2 hours nearly. Long. I think we had a bit of a laugh near the end there, but in all seriousness, again, people might come across and think, "Oh, you're being negative." We're just being real. We're just saying it how it is and how we feel in the moment of what we're going through. And the only positive I can take out of, as I said, is international break and the women to play. I get more enjoyment watching the women with the way they play. They've got a new manager and they play better football. And actually give a shit. They leave everything on the pitch. But hey, more said about that in due time. But yeah, as I said, I'll be doing a watch along for that or tomorrow night. And then after that, depending on how long is left in the transfer window, I might do a stream for the last few hours of the transfer window. If we're doing any business or not, I don't know. We'll play it by ear on that one. Obviously playing Sunday against Chelsea. I am trying to organise 24-hour stream on the channel to sort of try and help raise money for Tony from the Arsenal fan circle for his prosthetic leg, because obviously been over a year now, still on there and near his target he needs. Going to try and do what we can for that, either this weekend or because I need to talk to Mike, the guy does the quizzes on the channel, see when he's available and try and so he can do a couple weeks of quizzes in between all the other segments we're going to do for the 24 hours as well. Plus, I need a lot of Red Bull apparently, according to Mike. Oh dear, it's all good. It's all for good cause. So yeah, I've got that to deal. That'll be happening either this weekend or whenever. But once I know, I'll put a community post out and the tweets out and all that crap. But yeah, Steve, where can people find you if you want to be found?
Steve1886 on Twitter. Always doing something every day on there. Just keeping an eye on all the accurate news stories.
And out of my so-called regular setup, you're the only one that's consistent for me and turns up and doesn't pull out at the last minute.
I'm not Recto yet. No.
Yeah. Doesn't pull out at the last minute, so yeah. Or just doesn't bother turning up at all, basically, and telling it at the last minute is not bothering, basically. So that's going to be an interesting conversation we'll have soon. It continues, but that is what it is. Melvin, what about yourself?
On Twitter, I'm on Melvin, the only way is Arsenal Marks. I'm on this channel. Thank you again, Ryan. I'm on Andrew's channel, From Dial Square to Where, and on Richard's channel, over and over again Arsenal. Enjoy being on all of them. So thank you all, gentlemen. Really enjoyed it tonight. Got a bit of a couple of things off my chest. And onward we go.
And Andrew, what about yourself? And as I say, that someone's asked, do you have a channel? So you can plug away.
Yeah, I do indeed. It's From Dial Square to Where YouTube channel. So please shoot over there and give us a subscribe. We're looking to be back on Wednesday with the next show. Didn't do one last week, so obviously I was at the game, and one game where we had a bit of a decent result, which was pleasant. Then you can see me on Twitter, which is at From Dial Square as well. And once again, everyone, been a pleasure. Steve, Melvin, Ryan, and everyone in the chat.
Yeah, it's been very hectic in the chat. Yeah.
Everyone's been really, really lively in the chat. It's been a real good laugh. Been trying to keep on top of it all as well. Yeah, thank you for everyone watching, and thank you guys for being here with me today.
Excellent.
Absolutely no problem.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah, cheers. And Rohan, again, the 24-hour stream, it's going to be some point in the next 7 days. But as I said, I need to talk to Mike McDonald, who does the Humor quizzes, because I'm going to see if he's available to do a couple in between the 24-hour setup, and then obviously in between that with other segments as well. Melvin's come up with a good idea to do as well, which I'll get on to at the time as well. See who's available as well, and do some crossovers with other channels and podcasts and all that. And obviously Andrew just put his link in the chat as well. So go and follow that now and go and subscribe to his channel as well. We're going through the chat and get the last comment.
I'll be up for that the 24-hour show as well, by the way. Say back doing the sort of the collabs.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to come on there and perhaps we could do like a Desert Island discs or something like that with anyone that would like to get involved, and or one of my quizzes as well. Let's get quizzical that I hold on my channel. So that'd be really, really good. Be good laugh.
We just got to think of enough content to keep me going for 24 hours. That's all. And raise money, of course. Oh dear. Gary in the chat saying as well, big up goes good. We're doing a podcast over on the Red Cannon channel in the next 3 hours. 3 hours our time anyway. Gary, Steve looks like he's in his own island, away from the people, which is a good place to be because people suck sometimes.
It's a bar. I built a bar in my garage, believe it or not.
Fantastic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, quite a few people have asked me that as well.
Hey?
Since you've come onto the channel, I've had a few people message me like, where exactly are you? Like
it's Steve's bar, my garage bar.
Whereabouts do you live, Steve?
Ashford, Staines, Heathrow.
All right.
You're literally down the road from me. I'm literally at Heathrow itself, like between Terminal 4 and 5. Didn't know that.
Okay. Well, there you go then.
There you go.
When we get back in the pubs, we'll have a beer.
If Steve stands up, he's got like a hula skirt on underneath.
Yeah.
I actually haven't got anything on underneath.
Oh my God. Too much information, Steve.
Danny will love you from the Burkett Monitor, and that's what he always does.
I don't mind that, but that's a bit too much information to actually expose on live.
Look, we talked about the royal family owning the club. How far off can you go?
I don't know. We could think of something. Probably think of something to give us long enough. Jesus Christ. Oh dear God. But if you're new to the channel, guys, thanks Steve for coming on again. We'll get you on. Hopefully you're available. We want to come for the 24 24-hour stream. You're more than welcome. We're trying, obviously, going to talk podcasts.
See what I'm doing.
Yes. Yeah. And also, as I said, once the international break's over, sort out the fucking team, basically, get their head out their asses and get this sorted and all that jazz. I've got 2 weeks to do that as well. And hopefully, obviously, going to the night's game, talk that podcast, sort the podcast going into the game for that game, and obviously the aftermath of it all, and hopefully we can kick on. Basically, if you're new to the channel, do subscribe, do smash that like button. And again, I've been saying recently, share not just a channel, the link to the channel, but share the link to this particular podcast or whatever podcast you come across us on, and share it literally on all your major, all the platforms you use, your Instagrams, Discord, Twitter groups, or whatever. Just literally share like you wouldn't believe, because it does help the channel. Believe you me, it does help the channel, and I massively appreciate it. So, and again, the audio for this will be up in the next 45 minutes, depending on how long it takes to download. up on, as you see across the screen, Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Just some of the platforms it would be on audio wise. So if you want to listen to it back, that's where you're going to find it basically. Until then, guys, enjoy the next couple of weeks off, men's wise. As I said, the women are kicking off tomorrow night against their first leg. It's a two-legged thing as well. Don't get it, but it's the first leg against Slavia Praga at home ties at home as well. So I'll do a live stream for that. Anyone's interested in joining me, you can let me know, and I'll send you the link for that. But yeah, that'll be around 7:30 kickoff apparently. So go live about 15 minutes before going kickoff. And then after that, depending on if we're making any moves in the window or not, I might do it like the last few hours of the deadline day stream for you guys. If not, I won't do it because no point because it's Arsenal. It's an Arsenal channel, let's be honest. And then over the weekend, I'll do a watch along for the Arsenal Chelsea, the opening game of the season at the Emirates for the women's team, and see if we can put up one over on MAs again. Ex Arsenal herself, but does act like it sometimes apparently.
And watch the under 23s as well. That's much more entertaining.
Yeah.
That's much more entertaining than the full squad at the moment.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on them. Most of the games, especially home games, are on the Arsenal Twitch channel and Arsenal.com. So if there's any of those in the international break, perhaps stream one of those as well. Because it's much more entertaining.
I might do that. Yeah, as I said, more entertaining, better football. Again, they've got a new manager as well, and they're playing better football. It's more entertaining to watch. There's a system gig coming here, guys. Other levels are doing better with new managers. Our manager's been in for 20 months and we're not. We ain't got a fucking style, let's be honest. But yeah, until then, guys, as always, I can't believe I'm saying this still, but up the Arsenal. Yay. Trust the process.
See you later, boys. Take care. See you later.